What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Undrafted Views. We're here. We talk sports from the sidelines. And today we're going to talk about the Boston Celtics. Yes, the Boston Celtics. Yes, we love their team too. But in this video, we're going to talk about some of the things that we know for a fact, which makes them a great team. But we also want to have some comments about what we suggest they do for the next NBA season so they can continue their reign and their journey to the NBA Finals. Let's get started.
So the Boston Celtics are loaded with young talent.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about Jayson Tatum, he is phenomenal. I mean, he's everything to the Boston Celtics.
Oh my God. He is the franchise.
Yes. He's only 22 years old. Now, Jayson Tatum averaged 23 points during the regular season, 7 rebounds and 3 assists.
Mm-hmm.
That is not bad. And I don't see Boston ever parting ways with Jayson Tatum. We need him.
Yes.
Alongside Jayson Tatum is Jaylen Brown, who I think is his sidekick. What we know about Jaylen is he played 57 games out of the 72 available games in the regular season. We know it was a shortened season, but he averaged 20 points and 6 rebounds during the regular season.
Yep.
So, I mean, you got to focus more on Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, period.
Yeah, I agree. I think those two are the big two in Boston right now. I do believe that they add immense value to the play in the Boston team. I do also know that Jaylen is leverage for the Boston team to trade. I mean, he is a great player. I think any team would be seeking him out. So it would be really imperative that Boston keeps him because he's such a value to the team. So for me, we do know that Jayson and Jaylen are amazing basketball players, and they really embody, I believe, what Boston needed this year in order to make it as far as they made it. So,
yeah, they complement each other well.
Yeah.
So when I think about Boston, yes, they are the big two. Boston, they finished the 2019-2020 NBA season at 48-24 and were third in the East.
Yes.
Now, being third forced them to play Philly in the first round, which they swept them, no problem. Break out the brooms, yeah. So they swept them, and then they had to go up against the Toronto Raptors, and that's where it got interesting. That went to 7 games. So they beat Toronto, and then they had to face the Miami Heat, and I think that's where the problem started. That's when I knew that Boston was too young and inexperienced to go against the grown men on the Miami Heat.
Yes. I expected the game for Toronto to go 7 because, again, Toronto is a great team as well, and they were defending their championship. So they had every right to play hard, to be focused, and they were experienced. Experience. So they've been down this road before. Unfortunately for Toronto, they were missing a key piece, right? That left them. So, but it did expose for Boston that some veteran presence that have been to the championships before is missing from their team, be it in the starting 5 or on the bench. I do agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. And so, I mean, Gordon Hayward is sort of like a veteran for the Boston Celtics.
So what has he got a ring?
He does not have a ring, but he was the man when he played back in the day. He's 30 years old. He's been around for some time.
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward averaged 17 points in the regular season, but he ran across some serious problems in the bubble playoffs.
Yeah.
I think he even left the bubble at one point. He was injured, and then his wife gave birth and all that. So he was in and out of the bubble, but he played 5 games and averaged 10 points during his playoff run. Not very productive.
Yeah, although he may be a veteran, he's not the veteran type of leadership that I'm looking for when I'm talking about trying to make a run for the NBA Finals, right? And I believe that Gordon Hayward is extremely talented. I just don't know that his talent necessarily fits into what the future looks like for the Boston Celtics. That's all.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Now, when you think about toughness and, when Boston ran across Miami in the playoffs, to me, the only tough player that they had to body up was Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart, number one, and maybe Theis, number two. But Dikembe, sweet as he is, he's such a nice player. He has a beautiful smile. He looks like he's having fun on the court. He is missing some type of grit that I think the Boston Celtics can include on their team in some way. Now, am I saying that they need to trade Kemba? No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And I'm not saying that Kemba should embody that if that's not what his play is about, but that they need somebody to complement Marcus Smart. And I think it'll be really huge for their team.
Well, I think Boston really needed Kemba because he averaged 20 points in the regular season and then about 19.6 in the playoffs. The games would not have been as competitive without Kemba.
I agree. Yeah,
and he's also 30 years old, and I don't see him getting any better. He has reached his ceiling.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And he's making nice money too. Considering Boston, what we do know is Boston is already in the luxury tax. And they've already paid the luxury tax once. So they are a repeater franchise for the luxury tax. If they don't watch how they manage their money, they're probably going to be paying the luxury tax again in this upcoming season. So they have some work to do if they want to acquire any new players. And because they are such a young team that they need one or two veterans, just one or two veterans that have won championships or that can add some type of additional leadership, not to overshadow and replace Jayson Tatum, i.e. Kyrie. I don't want that to happen, right? not for Tatum, but someone that can help complement, what Tatum has to offer.
Okay. But I think Boston really suffered at the center position. I mean, Daniel Theis, he played well. He averaged 9 points in the regular season and only about 9 points in the playoffs. And then you had Enes Kanter, the other center, and he was basically ineffective, just running around out there on the court.
They have one more.
Oh, Taco Fall. Did Taco, you know what?
Was Taco Fall's last appearance in that Toronto game during the bubble? Was that his last appearance?
You know what? I think
when he allowed Kyle Lowry to hoist that basketball over his head. I'm done.
Unbelievable. Taco, he played 25 games in the regular season. He averaged 3 points. That's ridiculous. You're 7'5". How
many rebounds? How many blocks?
Really shocking. 2 rebounds.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Taco. We'll talk about what we suggest, but Taco, anyway.
So, basically the Celtics have 6 core players, in my personal opinion.
I agree.
But then, once you get past those 6, yes, a lot of young players with no experience. And that was the problem in the regular season as well as in the playoffs. It was so bold. It was in our face that they had very little experience.
Their depth is suffering for sure. And let's just be clear. Here's my 6. And let me know if you have the same 6. It would be Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, what's the guy's name? Daniel Theis, and Kemba Walker, and Gordon Hayward.
That's it.
If I'm going to say the 6, for me, that's the core 6. And I like the fact that Marcus Smart started the games where Gordon Hayward were out in the bubble. I don't know if Marcus always wants to start and if he doesn't mind coming off the bench and being the 6th man and all of that. But he has earned the right to be a starter if that's what he wants to do. That's how we'll talk about chemistry. Now, I can't say that the Boston team had great chemistry and great continuity. They played really well together.
Yeah.
And it was seen not only during the regular season, but even more so when they were playing in the bubble. I thought it was really, really great to watch.
But when you think about it, okay, Jaylen Brown's 24. Jayson Tatum is 22. Yeah. Marcus Smart is 26. Yeah. They're all right there, stair steps.
Yep.
Why not build around them? And then you got 2 30-year-olds in that core six, and Gordon and Kimba. Might be up for debate.
Debate in how? In which way?
And that my suggestion might be that maybe they need to go bye-bye.
Oh, go bye-bye. Oh. Both of them? Hayward and Walker?
Absolutely, Gordon Hayward.
Absolutely. Okay.
He's making way too much money. He made 32 last season and 34 in the upcoming season. What? Why are the Boston Celtics paying him that? That's superstar money. We haven't got superstar play from him.
Well, if he opts out of his contract, because he's currently an unrestricted free agent, they can technically rework his contract, give him more money, but make his contract a lot longer, and maybe front load, and then he can have a descending contract or something if they want to keep his talent. I don't know. In exchange for what? Keep him when we know we need another big? Like, is it worth trading Hayward to acquire another center? Because Enes is about
Enes, no. Bye Enes. But okay. I think players like Hassan Whiteside, Andre Drummond, even Tristan Thompson, who does not make superstar money, he might fit in pretty well with the Boston Celtics.
That's fair. Fair. Yeah. So you can get comparable or even improved performance in the same type of role, just not with Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can save them some money in their cap.
Anyway, so now I want to talk about some of our suggestions for the Boston Celtics moving into the new season, which I can't wait. I mean, they're a young team. They're exciting to watch. They're led by Brad Stevens.
I like Brad.
Yeah, but I have a suggestion regarding him. But we'll cover that in a minute. But okay. So what are your suggestions? What do you suggest the Boston Celtics do to be successful in the next NBA season?
They need to enhance their center position for sure. So if Enes Kanter is going to resign or opt out, whatever he wants to do, I just don't think he's needed anymore on the team. And if they need to replace a center, right? Because right now, if Enes Kanter goes away, waive, trade, or whatever, they will only have on their roster Daniel Theis and Taco Fall. Well, I can tell you right now, we talked about Taco, so that ain't going to work. And Daniel Theis, while I love him as a player, and I think he's a great contributor to the team, him alone won't do it. So whether he is a starter or he comes off the bench, I still believe they need a center player that will be able to handle or at least compete strongly against players like Bam Adebayo or Anthony Davis. Who is going to, at the rim, defend that type of strength, length, and power? And I don't know if Theis will always be able to do it because he's kind of on the shorter side. We need someone a little bit taller than him. Theis is 6'8". I mean, can you get another 6'8"? Maybe that's more experienced, a little bit more stronger. Because he's coming off an injury. He just had some surgery he had a surgery procedure done on his knee. So will he be really in full form once the season begins so soon, if we're talking about in December? So who can Boston bring in to help cover that center position that's going to be a strong defender of the rim? And I think they can improve their roster if they can do twofold, find someone that's comparable to height or a little bit taller as a center and is a veteran that has experienced playoff. Yeah. Maybe not won a championship, but actually been to the playoffs. I think it'd be a huge benefit to Boston in the start of the season and perhaps as they move on toward the playoffs.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you on that. They definitely need to upgrade that center position. Now, I think, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, they really need to focus on the Jaylen and Jayson duo. If you're going to circle the offense around anyone, it has to be the two young 22 and 24-year-olds. Why not? They are not in their prime yet. Yeah. I mean, clearly the ceiling is like way into the future for them.
Yes.
At least another 4 years, then we'll say, okay, this is their maximum potential. They haven't even scratched the surface yet.
No. Mm-mm.
If you have Kemba Walker on the team and you are paying him superstar money, I think it kind of takes away the shine from Jaylen Brown. Not so much Jayson, but Jaylen. Because he's not Jaylen, I think, in my personal opinion, he doesn't have the personality to snatch the shine from Kemba in order to be successful. He's just going to kind of try to fit in and get his productivity.
Okay.
Kemba kind of, takes some of that away from him.
Yeah, that's because of the length of time he's been in the league. That's because of his name being known and the various teams he's played against. I get it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Jaylen started out. Jaylen actually was drafted by the Boston team, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Jaylen, Jayson actually. So they are homegrown Boston players.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I also have that they need to get rid of Gordon Hayward. There's no way around it. Gordon Hayward is making $32 and $34 million next season. Why?
Because he has talent.
He's not as talented as he was before. He has already reached his maximum and he's on the downhill slide.
All right.
Why
and
are we still?
And I need his salary to match it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's about.
Yeah, that's what it's about. I see. I think that Gordon Hayward's talent can be used in another organization. Yes. And if not renewing his contract or, trading him off to another team is going to free up cap space. So the Boston Celtics can acquire a, minimum veteran with great, productivity. I think it'll be pretty good. That can cover, his position, right? Because you still need that type of position, right? So
yeah, you do. Now, do you have any other suggestions for the Boston Celtics?
I think they need to upgrade their depth. We talked about it a little bit previously, but they have a lot of young players that are inexperienced. And if they can trade off some of them to acquire some other more experienced players that are also on the decline, but because they have something to prove, they still have some things in the tank. I mean, we've got a lot of players out there and we don't really, it can happen, right? So I think that they need to consider that just to help with the depth and then also to help with some of the experience on the team.
Yeah.
One thing that's great about the Boston team is that they actually made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's huge, right? And so if they continue to build on that experience, I think it'd be really great.
Yeah. Not only did they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, they were 2 wins away from going to the big dance.
I know. But if you think about it, so let's think about their core team right now, the team that was in the bubble. Had they had won the Eastern Conference Finals, and this is all speculative, can that team match up against a team like the Lakers? Because that's what they should be talking about. And wherever that gap is what the Boston Celtics need to fulfill. And in that, there may be some trades from some of the players that we just actually like.
I would hate to see Jaylen Brown leave. If they can somehow get rid of Gordon Hayward, you know what? Maybe package Tice up in the deal and get but no, that team could not have could not have matched up against the Los Angeles Lakers. It's just too small. They're too small. A 6'8" Tice trying to bang with Anthony Davis. Nah, that wasn't going to work.
It wasn't going to happen. No. And if not Tice, who was going to put Cantor in? He was going to start or come off the bench?
Yeah, you would have got no offensive productivity from him and very low quality defense from Enes Kanter.
Okay, so if not him, we're going to put Taco Fall in. Go on, Taco.
Taco Fall, yeah. Taco Fall.
We're going to have him bang up against Dwight Howard? Oh, okay.
Oh, see, that would have been embarrassing. Taco Fall was only making $79,000 though.
I mean, well, so then he's a good maybe third, fourth level depth bench writer. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying, you need someone to step in. Yes, I'm fine with that. And perhaps if he gets more productivity, more playing time, maybe he can improve his skill. Maybe if he can get in their weight room and build muscle, that will help as well. But aside from that, they still need someone that's going to be dominant. I don't see any center player that they have on the Boston Celtics being able to compete against anybody that's like a Dwight Howard, Porzingis. Come on. Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo. I've said these names before, but these are people who, if the Boston team wants to get ready for the NBA Finals for the next season, they need to consider what that looks like for them because they are lacking in that particular position. That's what.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what I think they need to consider. They may need to consider going a different coaching direction and allowing Brad Stevens to coach another team. Because look, now granted, Brad Stevens has had pretty good success in his tenure as the Boston Celtics head coach. But just like Doc Rivers, he could not get them over the hump. And you have all this young talent. What's your excuse? What's Brad's excuse? He doesn't have an excuse.
He has to have one.
What? Brad is your guy.
Give me a minute to come up with it. No.
There's no excuse.
Yeah.
I think he has a problem. I shouldn't say communicating, but relating to his players. What kind of conversation can Jayson Tatum have with Brad Stevens?
X's and O's. That's all that matters. X's and O's. That's it. That's what we're talking about. I want you to stand here, get on this defense. Your percentage here when you shot, it's going to be fact-based. I just think Brad Stevens is fine. I think they need to upgrade their roster. Not greatly, but in key positions. What they were missing is what they need to replace. And I don't think Brad Stevens is the guy. They need to keep him. They don't need to be. Yeah. Eastern Conference Finals. Is this the first time they made the Eastern Conference Finals under Brad Stevens?
I don't know. I know they haven't made it to the NBA Finals.
Well, yeah. Him and every other team. Come on, we can go down the list. Right? So,
but why does Brad Stevens get to be unsuccessful year after year and not be up on the cutting block?
Let's just let me call up Houston then.
Call him. Call him. Brad, no. And the problem is, Brad, if he can't get this young team over the hump, they will have wasted their prime under Brad Stevens as their head coach. Okay. That's unfair to them.
Okay, so then who do you suggest? If it's not Brad, then who?
Mark Jackson.
Oh, that's your guy. Okay.
That's my guy. Mark Jackson needs to be a head coach. I'm sick of saying it. Is anybody listening?
Ainge, get on it.
Come on. Yeah. So, hey, that's basically what we know and what we suggest the Boston Celtics do to be successful in the upcoming NBA season. I am looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah. So if they don't, but I tell you one thing, and I can go on record saying this, if they don't upgrade their center position, they can forget about it.
They can forget about Oh.
All right, you guys. So that wraps up our episode with the Boston Celtics and going over what we suggest and what they need to do. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like our video.
Yes, and join our community. If you like this kind of content, this is what we do. We talk sports from the sidelines. Yeah, that's what we do. So we'd like for you all to join us, but we will see you guys on the next one. But until then, peace.